What if one simple idea could totally change your life? And what if the guy who came up with it had to go to these unbelievable lengths just to get anyone to listen? Well, that's the story we're getting into today. It's about a book that sold over 35 million copies, and how its author used his own philosophy to turn it from a complete nobody into a global phenomenon. Okay, let's dive in. It all starts right here with this man, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and this core belief of his. He basically argued that our expectations, especially the ones we have for ourselves, literally shape our reality. Now that's a powerful idea, right? But for Dyer, this wasn't just some nice-sounding quote. It was his actual strategy for life. And wow, what a strategy it was! His book, Your Erroneous Zones, went on to become one of the best-selling books of all time. But the journey to this number, that's the real story. It was a journey of just relentless self-belief in the face of total, and I mean total indifference from the publishing world. So, what was this big revolutionary idea? Well, back in an era where psychology often looked outwards to find blame for our problems, Dyer completely flipped the script. He turned the focus inward. The book's whole premise was incredibly simple, but also kind of radical for its time. Your happiness is your own responsibility. It's not about what happens to you, it's about how you choose to think about it. He called the roadblocks to happiness erroneous zones. And when you look at them, they're so familiar, right? These are the mental habits we all get stuck in, worrying about the future, feeling guilty about the past, or, constantly needing other people to tell us we're doing a good job. So this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If we're all stuck in these patterns, how in the world do we break free? Well, Dyer's answer wasn't some complex therapy. It was based on a piece of just beautifully simple logic. Okay, check this out. His whole argument is built on this simple three-step logic. Step 1, I can control my own thoughts. I mean, you can choose what to focus on, right? Step 2, my feelings come directly from my thoughts. You can't feel an emotion without thinking something first. So the inescapable conclusion, step 3, is therefore I can control my feelings, just by controlling the thoughts that come before them. So simple, but so powerful. So the big takeaway is this. It's not the traffic jam that's making you angry, it's your thoughts about the traffic jam. It's not someone's comment that hurts your feelings, it's your thoughts about their comment. This shift in responsibility is the absolute key to escaping those erroneous zones. And this is where the story gets really incredible, because Dyer didn't just write about this idea, he lived it. All right, now here's where the story just gets amazing. Dyer didn't just write these ideas down, he used them as a literal blueprint for his own success. He decided to apply this whole logic of self-reliance to the massive challenge of selling his own book. The problem was his publisher had very, very different expectations. They saw the book as just another title on their list, something that would be on the shelves for a few months and then disappear. But Dyer, he expected something extraordinary. He believed this message was just too important to let it fade away. He completely refused to let their limited thinking define his reality. So what did he do? He took control. After the book came out to basically crickets, he bought up the first 2 printings himself. That's right, he filled his entire garage with thousands of copies, loaded up his car, and with his young daughter Tracy, he set off on a cross-country road trip to sell the book one city at a time, talking his way onto any little local radio show that would have him. This whole grassroots effort created a slow burn, but Dyer was still looking for that one big break, the one that would let him reach the entire country. And he got it. Or so he thought. He landed an appearance on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Now, you have to understand, in the 1970s, this was everything. This was the one shot that could make an author's career literally overnight. It was the ultimate game changer. So he filmed the show. He flew home. He told absolutely everyone he knew to watch. But when the night came, the show didn't air. It was preempted by the Republican National Convention, the first time in the show's entire history that had ever happened. Can you imagine? The biggest break of his life had just vanished into thin air. But here's where the story takes a wild turn. Instead of getting angry or defeated, instead of getting stuck in one of his own erroneous zones, he just waited. And back in LA, the producers and Johnny Carson himself heard about how great his unaired segment was. So Carson personally invited him back to be on the show before the preempted one had even aired. What happened next was just pure magic. He appeared on the live show that Wednesday, and Johnny liked him so much he asked him back for Friday's show. And then the original preempted episode finally aired the following Monday. Think about that. In just 5 days, this unknown author got 3 national appearances on the biggest show in the country. It's just unheard of. The result was explosive. The book just went soaring up the bestseller lists. Suddenly, every talk show host who had completely ignored him, Phil Donahue, Merv Griffin, they all wanted him. He became a media sensation, all because he controlled his thoughts and his actions when faced with what looked like a total career-ending disaster. So when you really look back at it, you realize his success wasn't some lucky accident. Not at all. It was the ultimate proof of concept for the very ideas he was writing about. He was basically patient zero for his own philosophy. I mean, you can see a perfect, direct line between his philosophy and his actions. The book preached self-reliance, so what did he do? He drove across the country himself. It taught freedom from the need for approval, so he completely ignored the publisher's low expectations. It championed being a doer, not a critic, so he got out there and took action, booking himself on show after show. Ultimately, the power of his story and his book comes from that authenticity. He wasn't just telling people how to live, he was showing them. His entire journey was a masterclass in escaping the very same erroneous zones he was describing in the book. And that really leaves us with a question to think about, doesn't it? What erroneous zone is keeping you from your own extraordinary expectations? Whether it's a fear of the unknown, that need for approval, or just the habit of worry, we all have them. The story of Wayne Dyer is just this powerful reminder that our biggest limitations, and maybe our biggest breakthroughs, often begin with the expectations we set for ourselves.